How many people do you know that are on Adderall?
The friends I have who are in finance, 100%.
In this video, Joe Rogan and Andrew Huberman unite to demystify the human mind and body, and that's just the starting point. As a dynamic pair, they merge their collective knowledge and experiences to deliver impactful insights that will revolutionize the way that we think and learn and evolve. Experience the captivating interplay between Rogan's unwavering curiosity and Huberman's scientific acumen as they work together to transform our understanding of ourselves and the world around us.
This is now really big science, and pharma's moving in very quickly. What they're trying to do is create non-psychedelic psychedelics, figure out what sorts of chemistry changes that doesn't give you hallucinations and create new antidepressants. That's what they want to do with psilocybin, because doing 2 journeys on a drug and then you're done, that's not good business. These things work. The clinical data are showing that. 65% plus success rate for what would otherwise be intractable, untreatable suicidal depression. Incredible. And now the universities are behind it. But they're behind it because laboratories are getting funded to do it. Laboratories are getting funded to do it because there are grants. Why are there now grants from the federal government? Well, philanthropists came in early and provided money. And now people are starting to see that there are big potential outcomes at the level of pharma. Now, the classic psychedelics community isn't going to like that. They're like, no, this is plant medicine. It's got a 100,000-year history or more. Indigenous people, et cetera. Academia and pharma don't care about that. And I'm one of these people. I'm not saying they're bad and they're good. I'm saying that it's humans again. So why are universities suddenly okay with the idea of discussions about psychedelics in front of their top-tier donors, the people that literally supply the blood to the university? Well, because top-tier donors are now really interested in psychedelics. So what drives every aspect of it, from the student who's pipetting in the lab to the highest tier of administration in a university, all the way up to directors of NIH, it's all interconnected at the level of incentives.
Right, but the top-tier donors are clearly influenced by the zeitgeist. And the way people have approached and thought about psychedelics has radically changed
completely
over the last 10 years.
Right.
And then having podcasts discuss it, then you're getting these positive drug stories out to, and I don't even like calling them drugs, positive compound stories about psychedelics that are going out to millions and millions and millions of people. And you're hearing about these people, particularly soldiers who are coming back with PTSD, who are having tremendous results, people with overwhelming depression, people with all sorts of problems with drug addiction and so many different ailments that are being helped in this way.
Yeah, absolutely. And look, you deserve tremendous credit here. I know you're not one to, sit here and take praise from your guests, but I'm going to just say that you've been talking about this for a long time, about the tremendous value of these things. Not just for gaining new perspective, because I think in the 60s and 70s it was tune in and drop out, right? Now we're talking about the use of psychedelic medicine to be able to lean into life in a healthy way.
Yeah.
That's the major difference. And you've really pioneered the discussion around that, Michael Pollan, and there are others too, I realize. But at a time when it was considered really wacky and out there, now it's headed towards mainstream medicine. And I think it's fundamentally important.
When Joe Rogan and Andrew Huberman come together, it's the best. They form an incredible source of information and inspiration. This video is an introduction as they delve into the fascinating realms of neuroscience, performance, and human potential. Their combined perspectives clarify our mind's complexities, empowering us to access our own hidden abilities and untapped potential. Together, they remind us that growth and self-improvement are attainable and that the quest for knowledge is an unending pursuit.
So times are really changing, and you and Michael and others really deserve a token of gratitude. I've completely revamped my stance on psychedelics. And I'll be honest, I was kind of a wild youth, barely finished high school, and I did recreationally. I took LSD and psilocybin in high school, hung around with a wild bunch, and we were just partying with it. I didn't know what I was doing. So my view of it was associated with a time in my life where I was pretty wayward.
Right.
Then I never touched it. I drank a little bit, smoked a little bit of weed here and there, but never really liked weed very much. It just wasn't my thing. And then when I did this 3 sessions with MDMA, that completely transformed my understanding of how these drugs work. I also realized, and you probably already know this, but I was very curious about MDMA and the reputation that puts holes in the brain, kills serotonin neurons. The study on MDMA that showed neurotoxicity was retracted from science. They actually inadvertently injected methamphetamine into those monkeys. So they now have data in humans asking what are the safety profiles on MDMA for people that take it every once in a while to people who have taken hundreds of dosages of MDMA. And there's one population of people that you can do this on that makes it a really good experiment. Those people can't do any other drugs because then it becomes confounded by, are they doing meth? Are they doing coke? Are they getting psilocybin? What else? It's not a good experiment. You want single variable manipulation. There's only one group that you can do that on, and that's who they did it on, and that's Mormons. The Church of Latter-day Saints has one drug that's not on the banned substance list, and that's MDMA.
Wow.
And I'm not saying all Mormons...
They can't even drink coffee.
It makes it even better experiment. And so I'm not saying that Mormons are all taking MDMA, but there is a substantial number of LDS, Latter-day Saints, I think they call themselves now Mormons, as most people know them, who have taken tons of MDMA. And they've done brain imaging and psychiatric profiles on them. Those data say that done, as long as it's not contaminated with something else, which is a serious issue, the neurotoxicity is nil to none. Microdoses seems to be the depression treatment. So this is 25 milligrams of psilocybin. I think it translates to about 2.5 to 5 grams of mushrooms. Is that about right?
That's the heroic dose.
The heroic dose. And what's interesting is the microdosing, because now there's the comparison of, daily 1 milligram, aka microdosing, versus the 2 heroic doses. The microdosing has not shown impressive results for treating depression. And I think people should know that. I'm not saying microdosing is bad, but in terms of treatment of depression, it has not proved to, in the clinical studies.
So for that application, but yeah. I can tell you personally that microdosing for just daily life makes things really fun. I have done it many times, and I've taken a gram a day, 30 days in a row.
Okay, so a gram a day is probably
about
five milligrams.
Take days off here and there, but I enjoy it a lot. It gives you a silly, carefree consciousness that is unperturbed, meaning that it doesn't affect my judgment, it doesn't affect my ability to have a conversation with someone, it doesn't affect my ability to do my job, whether it's do a podcast or even do UFC commentary or do anything else. It just puts me in this very appreciative, thankful, low anxiety state.
Earlier, in an earlier podcast, you brought up that when things got a little hectic in life, that you were doing mushrooms.
Yeah.
Were those mushroom doses higher dose mushrooms that you're referring to?
1 gram.
Okay.
I mean, occasionally higher.
Yeah.
Yeah, but 1 gram seems to be like the magic number for me. Like 1 gram, just sort of, you skate around for like 4 or 5 hours. And there's no come down. It's just like, you're just happy.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah, people in my field have been encouraging me to do the macrodose psilocybin. It's in the books. I really want to do it. Robin Carhart-Harris, again, describes it as one of the more, quote unquote, honest psychedelics. Like you can't really decide what's going to come up.
Yes.
And a key thing he mentioned is that people need, this is, you may find interesting. I'd love to know if you believe this for your own experience as well. He said there are a couple variables to these successful treatments of depression with high dose psilocybin. One of them is that people stay in the eye mask. That if they spend too much time in the room with the eye mask off, they don't do enough of the introspective work.
Yeah, I would imagine that's the case because you're just distracted by visuals and you could concentrate on that instead of just... Terrence McKenna used to always say silent darkness is the most important aspect to a real trip where you're learning and you're going in with the intention to interface with this divine consciousness and learn something.
In this enthralling video, the convergence of 2 brilliant minds, Joe Rogan and Andrew Huberman, ignites a flame of inspiration and discovery. And that's only the beginning. Their fascinating conversation unveils a world of possibilities, revealing essential insights on maximizing our potential and leading meaningful lives. As they investigate the brain's intricate workings and the human spirit's limitless potential, I gotta say it again, they inspire us to embrace the power within ourselves and to shape our futures. Engage with them in this transformative experience and unleash the greatness that resides within you.
How many people do you know that are on Adderall?
The friends I have who are in finance, 100%.
There's a lot of people that are journalists that are on it. A lot of writers and journalists are on it. I've been shocked when I talk to these people.
I think one of the problems with the traditional press is that it's hard to know where their heart is. Conversations with them have become a bit of a razor's edge, frankly.
Well, they're also like deeply influenced by money. I guarantee you there are some people behind the scenes that are trying to come up with some sort of a plausible scenario that's alternative to the lab leak theory. And that's why they're coming up with this. It's not like the people that I've talked to that understand this. I've had many conversations with virologists and evolutionary biologists who explain to me why this is most likely a lab leak. They're not arguing with this. So when someone comes along with this and they're saying, oh, we found it, like, no, you didn't. No, you know you didn't. You're writing this article because you're being influenced to do so. If it was not for independent journalism, we would be in a pickle. We would be in a really bad state because a lot of people got duped by the pharmacological industry, the pharmaceutical industry, the medical industry, the military industrial complex. They've been duped by so many different companies and corporations that have a vested interest in getting one narrative out. And if you can get that narrative out through the traditional pipelines of mainstream media with no one fact-checking, no one interfering, no independent journalist saying, actually, that's not true at all. Here's why they did that. This was the influence. Here's where the money is. We have emails. We can show you they were influenced. And it's one of the beautiful things about the internet today. The internet today allows people like that to thrive because these mainstream media corporations are so corrupt. They're so obviously indebted to the companies that pay for their advertising.
Yeah, I mean, my initial experience of them was long before I had a podcast, did an interview with traditional media, and then it comes out, and they didn't say anything bad, but my quote was given to somebody else, their quote was given to me.
Yeah.
And then you say, and I wrote and said, hey, this is factually incorrect. I didn't say this. First of all, I'm not a medical doctor. They swapped the names either accidentally. And then I got this, oh, well, kind of response, like too late, And when it's your neck on the line, it's your name. I mean, in science, all we have is our reputations.
Yeah.
In science or in anything, that's all we have is our reputation. So it's a scary thing to hand that over to somebody. So unless it's a particular few set of sources, I generally decline traditional media conversation.